Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm sitting here with my Real World's Championship, and of course the Real World's Champion currently is signed to WWE, and his name is CM Punk. But I thought on today's video, I'd take a look at all the other champions in AEW and try to figure out who's gonna beat each one of those champions to become the new AEW whatever champion. This thing is so heavy, there's no way I'm gonna wear it during the video. All right, first up, let's talk the AEW Women's Championship that's currently held by Toni Storm. And I know a lot of people think Mariah May is the person that's going to be taking that title off of Toni Storm. And that's entirely possible. In fact, it might be likely. However, I've got another name that I think would be better, in my personal opinion, to take that title off Toni Storm. And I'm talking about, of course, Athena. She is the current Ring of Honor Women's Champion. I kind of feel like, I'll be honest with you, all the clips that I've seen of Athena on Ring of Honor programming have been outstanding. And I feel like she needs to get that call up to cable TV, main roster, whatever you want to call it. And I think there's no better thing they could do to establish Athena as a major threat on AEW television than to have her come in and be the person that dethrones Toni Storm. Another name out there, Jamie Hayter. They could totally do Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter at the upcoming Wembley show. That's a distinct possibility given that they're both not, Toni's not British, but she did cut her teeth in the UK. I know she's from, I think, New Zealand, I want to say. But she's very popular in England, of course. And of course, Jamie Hayter is actually English, so let me double check that. Yes, she's from Eastleigh, Hampshire, England. So my pick would be Athena. I could see it being Mariah May. I could see it being Jamie Hayter, but I also don't know what Jamie Hayter's status is, so who knows about that one. But yeah, give me Athena. All right, next up, we got the AEW World Tag Team titles. The Young Bucks basically just won these titles. They're gonna have them for a while because they're the EVPs, and I'm not sure exactly where this Elite storyline is going to go. Obviously, to some degree, they're going to be waiting for like Kenny Omega to get better. They'll probably wait to bring Hangman Page back around to being a good guy. I think maybe. So there's not a lot of like tag teams out there that are like in a position right now to beat the Young Bucks. However, there is one, used to be super popular, now they're still popular tag team that a lot of people seem to think might be on the verge of breaking up, but I think that'd be a terrible idea. I think you keep them together. I'm talking about the Acclaimed. Of course, they're recently Trios champions. I feel like they need to get back to doing tag team stuff straight up with Bowens and Caster. And they've never faced the Young Bucks team versus team. I was going to say one-on-one, but you guys know what I mean. Team versus team, straight up in a tag team match. They've been involved, I think, if cage match is to be believed, they were involved in a big sort of Rumble style match with the Young Bucks with a bunch of other teams. But if I'm not mistaken, they've never had an actual feud, and they would be kind of perfect. Nobody's really been set up at this point. And then Dynamite, they kind of tease something, but I still think it's going to be a ways off. So maybe you give the Acclaimed a longer story, but the tag team sort of situation right now in AEW really isn't that strong. I feel like the Acclaimed needs to get back to what made them so popular in the first place, and that's being an actual tag team. Billy can be managing them. He could be their mouthpiece, I guess, even though they really don't need a mouthpiece. He could be their mascot. That's sort of what he serves best in terms of his function with the Acclaimed. So yeah, the Acclaimed takes those tag titles off of the Young Bucks whenever this big Elite versus AEW storyline plays out. We already saw Team AEW. That's not going to be the thing. But eventually at some point, you got to figure the big bad guys with the Elite there, they're going to be taken down somehow, some way. I don't know when, I don't know how. But I could see the Acclaim being the ones to get the job done eventually, simply because there's nobody really else out there. What are they going to go back to FTR? That would not be a good idea. They're going to go to the Fly Guys. What are they, Top Flight? I don't think so. I think they're trios now. I haven't even seen them for a while. Private Party? I don't really see it happening. All right, next up, let's talk about the AEW Trios Championships. Right now, the unified combined Trios title, Ring of Honor and AEW, all 9 titles of them belong to the Bang Bang Gang. Throw your guns up. Who's going to dethrone the Bang Bang Gang? I think right now it looks like it's probably going to be the team that hasn't even officially been formed yet. I'm talking about Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. I kind of feel like if they play their cards right with those three guys as a faction, they could be super popular. They could be kind of like what the Blackpool Combat Club kind of used to be. And now those guys are kind of all over the map and they've sort of spread out a little bit. But I feel like if you get Joe, Hook, and Shibata together, I think that would be really, really cool. And I could see those guys taking down the Bang Bang Gang finally for all 9 of those titles floating around. And then maybe they'll just come up with a new title that'll be the one thing. It'll be the one combined title. You don't worry about the Ring of Honor or the AEW. It's just the one combined AEW Trios title. I think that's probably a good idea. I don't even know what this faction, what they're going to be called. If they're going to have a name, you got to have a name if you want to sell t-shirts, right? I think probably, I don't know, come up with something cool. Next up, the AEW Continental Championship right now belongs to Kazuchika Okada. Again, similar to the Young Bucks, I don't see him losing this title anytime soon. Seems like they're going to be a thing for a while. You can kind of just copy and paste what I just said about the Young Bucks. How I don't even know how to assess this particular situation because nobody's really out there. However, if Okada notches up some big wins, names similar to like Pac, who he already beat, I think you can sort of build him to the point where it'll be a big deal when somebody actually beats him one-on-one for that Continental title. It wouldn't surprise me to see him go through the next Continental Classic and win the Continental Classic and hold on to that title. I know that's a ways off, but if you see what I'm getting at, that is probably going to be the situation. There is one name, of course, that I think could be the guy to beat Okada for that title. And I'm talking about, of course, Kenny Omega. I think he went through his surgery. He's probably rehabbing or recovering right now. It's probably going to be a while, but like I said, it's going to be a long time before anybody takes that title off Okada. Could be they don't even know what the plan is right now. Of course, it's wrestling, and if the most recent reports are to be believed, Tony Khan is waiting at the last minute to write this stuff anyways, but wouldn't shock me to see the Cleaner take that Continental Championship off of Okada. Hey, not a terrible, couple names to hold that title in the first place. Eddie Kingston, Okada, and Kenny Omega. And then you're off to the races. I don't know what you do after then. But yeah, the Cleaner. Give it to Kenny Omega. That's a good name. Next up, the For the World Championship. Chris Jericho, the Learning Tree, currently has the FTW title. If Taz could fight for this title, I could see him doing it, but he can't. I guess the obvious choice right now has got to be Hook, right? Unless there's another name out there. You don't want to put it on Ricky Starks. I think he's probably out the door. Unless there's another name out there, like if Big Bill ends up turning on Jericho, but I don't see that happening. I think Jericho's a big enough name that Taz is okay with him messing with the belt, slapping his own name on there, slapping the Learning Tree on there, because he realizes it's going to come back into the family at some point. You got to figure Hook eventually is going to come back around to Jericho. Seems like they might be in an active feud right now, but then Joe just came over and said, no, we're going to do this on our time, which could mean any number of things. It could mean we're going to re-engage with Chris Jericho on Collision on Saturday. It could mean we're going to do it in 3 months. I don't know, but you got to figure it's Taz's property. And if his son has it, he's probably fine with it. And if anybody else has it, I don't know, Daniel Garcia, I doubt he'll be really cool with that. So I think Hook's going to get it back. All right, so the AEW TNT title just hit vacancy. That's right, because Adam Copeland decided to jump off a cage and blow his knees up into dust. The Young Bucks said, okay, we're vacating this damn thing, and we're going to do a thing where we're just going to give it to Jack Perry. But then Christopher Daniels came down on Dynamite and said, no, we're having a tournament instead. No, I'm sorry. It's a ladder match, not a tournament. There's going to be qualifying matches to get into the ladder match. I think Jack Perry's going to get anyways. I think they're doing the thing with the new elite where everybody's going to have some gold. Everybody's going to have a title, and Jack Perry's going to be the next TNT champion. He's got Okada out there. He's got the Young Bucks out there. They've got both the sort of political power and just the physical strength to do it. They could probably just come out during the ladder match, dump it over if it's going to be I don't know, Takeshita about to pull that thing down, which would also be a really great name for that TNT title. But yeah, the scapegoat right now, they're trying to make him into a thing. He's the guy who got the win on Daniel Bryan Danielson at that last pay-per-view with the Anarchy in the Arena match. So I kind of feel like Jack Perry's going to be that guy to get that TNT title. All right, let's talk about the AEW TBS title. Monet changes everything. Mercedes Monet got that title off Willow Nightingale. Man, I don't know about this one. Part of me wants to see Chris Statlander get that title off Mercedes Monet at some point, and then Willow can get it off of her because of their feud. I get the feeling, though, Willow's going to have a prolonged feud with Statlander, take a little bit of a road while Mercedes Monet defends that title against names like we just saw on Dynamite, like Sky Blue and others in the women's division. Hey, not a terrible idea to do a Saraya Mercedes Monet feud, but then eventually Willow Nightingale comes back around and beats Mercedes Monet for that title after she has established herself more in AEW. Now that she can wrestle, it's kind of awesome. Now that she can wrestle, we can all see what Mercedes Monet can actually do, because promos kind of aren't her thing, but she is a hell of a good wrestler. So there you go. Willow Nightingale is going to get that title off Mercedes Monet because I think she's going to have it for a little while. I don't know when. Maybe All Out. That's like, what, September, late August, whatever that is. All right, let's talk about the AEW International title and the AEW World title, not the real World Championship. That belongs to CM Punk. I'm talking about Swerve Strickland's AEW World title, Will Ospreay's International title. Of course, I'm talking about them both at the same time because they're about to have a match at Forbidden Door. Now, this match is for Swerve's World title. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic here. I get the feeling Will Ospreay's going to lose that match because he doesn't allow himself to do the Storm Driver. Don Callis might be badgering him to do the Storm Driver. There might be some distraction there. He turns around, eats a house call, eats the other thing, the Swerve Stomp. Swerve gets that win, gets a couple more title defense victories before Will Ospreay comes back around. Now, ideally, you do this at Wembley 2025. Hear me out. Swerve turns into a bad guy again, maybe sometime early next year. Vicious Swerve, doesn't like that Will Ospreay is like the new golden boy there in AEW. And what have we learned before? The longer you hold out on keeping somebody from finishing their story, the more people are going to want to see it. So you keep that away from Will Ospreay. I don't think that's going to happen. It's probably going to happen at Wembley this year. Will Ospreay will simply probably lose at Forbidden Door, win the Owen Cup, get that title shot at Wembley, main event Wembley, beat Swerve there. That's probably going to happen. And when that happens, it's not like he's going to have lost the international title. Maybe because international and world, hey, they kind of mean the same thing. Maybe you just smash them together. That's what I think they're going to do. I wanted it for Cody Rhodes in that United States Championship, and I didn't get it. So maybe, because one of the knocks on AEW is they got way too many titles. Like, you got the international title, but you also got the TNT title, and you got the Continental title. Besides the TNT thing, they all kind of mean the same thing. What does Continental even mean? Anyways, you take the international title, you smash it into the world title, you get rid of the international title, you get a world title. Will Ospreay, he's going to win it. He's going to have both titles, and then one of them will just go away. If they don't do that, maybe if they vacate it, Jay White, that's your guy. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know who you guys think are going to dethrone all the champions in AEW in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.